right, we better get started because I've got a 10 o'clock at RE Colorado. Listen to a bunch of big brokers talk about the future of real estate. So, good morning, everybody. Wanted to let you know that we are streaming live, so on our YouTube channel, so you can always be able to check that out because we record these. And so one of the things that Steve Kineski and Steve Olson asked me about 2 weeks ago was that they would really like a place where you can go and download your testimonials. So as you can see on the past the screen, and what's on our screen is our new RE/MAX Masters Millennium logo, and you're going to be able to then just right at the closing go over there, hit the YouTube channel, record your testimonial, or just take a picture, and then make sure that those testimonials get uploaded on your websites. Because, you know, that's really one of the most important things that we can do for ourselves is to toot our own horn. And so we're trying to do that in every channel that we possibly can. So I'm going to just kind of play you a little bit of what the Peggy and Carla show yesterday did. So here we go. So you know, if you miss it here, you'll be able to go right to the YouTube channel and get that. So I guess we're buffering.
I'm Peggy, and I'm Carla. We're here testing the YouTube video, our new awesome camera and sound system. We have this great new logo on the wall behind us here. This is where you can come and record a testimonial with your clients. We look forward to helping each of you. Come on, louder.
So anyway, yeah, it was a little bit low volume there, but just wanted to let you know that when you go to the YouTube channel, all of our YouTube channels are there. So we have a live stream right now, and it's got a 20-second delay, so you're not going to probably want to listen and try and listen here and then listen to me, because it won't work. But here is kind of one of our live broadcasts, and so it's very, very simple. We have our a new laptop to go along with that. Carla's really learning how to work those so that all of our classes, all of our lunch and learns, everything that we are going to do will be online, and we probably will have a login so that not all the world will listen to all of our trade secrets. So,
Are you going to put these onto our website?
yes, they'll be on. Well, you'll just have to log into Masters Millennium, and then it also will be on Masters Talk. Okay. So what I want to go over today is three different things, but I'm going to start with transactions today, and I want to just show everybody just to follow along and kind of see how transactions are actually done. So the first thing you have to do is you have to log in and go to the transaction right there, transaction activity. So the first thing you'll see is a dashboard. We went over this a little bit yesterday, and so when you're not logged in, it'll tell you to log in, so it's dummy proof. So you log in, it always comes to your profile page first. So then you go down to your transaction activity, and the first thing that you can hit is your dashboard, and you can see transactions here, what's going on, and it'll give you how many total. Tells you the selling transactions and the listing transactions. I better get my buyer count up, or else you know what's going to happen. I won't have any business because everybody's leaving me. So want to make sure that you have an equal amount of transactions with your buyers. So then you go to your transactions. Transactions are, when you see that, your name should show up, okay? And it says right now 11. That means ongoing transactions. So the little button here, sort by, you can click on that button, and then you'll be able to go to your closed, your hidden, and your ongoing. It's going to default to ongoing. So the nice thing about that is you're not seeing all of that clutter now. You're only seeing your ongoing transactions. So it'll just kind of tell you all of your buy side, ongoing, closed, hidden, because the hidden function is really designed so that, let's say that you go to a listing appointment, they decide to wait 6 months, or they decide to put it on private market. They try to do other things other than ongoing, so that's an opportunity for you to hide those transactions and then go back to them and not lose those transactions. But they don't, again, don't clutter your site here with all the ones that aren't going on, okay? So I'm going to just click on one that has been going on for a while. Here's a transaction, so I click on that transaction. Now, the nice thing about this is that it goes right to your email address. That is the unique email address. What I do with that is once I get a transaction, I copy and paste and put this transaction email as a secondary email in my database so that I can then decide if I want to CC to the transaction is a very simple way, because a lot of times if you auto-populate your email address, it will then add that secondary email, and you can copy that, and then it goes to your transaction database. So that means any emails, any voicemails, anything that you want that can get into a email will also be able to then get into your transaction. So when that is built, it kind of tells you the agent's name, and then it tells you all the kind of pre-populated information, when it was created, when it's going to close. You can see anything that's highlighted in blue or red is always something that you're going to be able to default or change. So you can see here that if I click on this, I can say that it's a pre-listing, a selling transaction, a pre-buy, or a buying transaction. So immediately when you meet somebody, you don't have to wait for the transaction to be complete. You can start entering documents in there immediately. So always when you're adding something, you have to click or save, otherwise it won't save. It'll default back to your old device. So I've got a buying transaction, and I've stayed as a buying transaction. So then what you do is you see how the things are populated automatically. So the address, Colorado Springs, the zip code, the state, US, the year assessed, the assessed price, 2 bedrooms, 3 baths, gives you the square footage, and description would be there too. And then highlighted in blue is your MLS number. So when I click on that, it goes right to my MLS number, all right? And this is the Colorado Springs MLS data, and we're almost finished with the Colorado Springs data, and it should be working now so that you guys can search that. So that little button shows you the MLS number and then where you can retrieve that data. That's quite helpful when you're talking about trying to keep track of the brokers that you're working with, because that's going to keep all your information in there, their information in there, and you're not having to keep that on your phone or anything else. You can keep it right there. So that section is complete. We move down to the participants. The participants is something that you add as you have people in the transaction. Automatically, when you start the transactions, the participants that are going to automatically flow is the agent, that is you, and your buyer or seller. So once that's built, you have to have this here. So if I click down here and I got rid of Stephen, so now it says no client. All right, how to add that client is there's a little client plus, or just the little person there. Everybody see that? So if I hit this person here, it's going to select from my database, and I'm going to go right to them. let's see. So I go to Stephen and Deborah down here. I click on that, and I said add existing. So now you see that they're back on there, okay? So that's how you add that, because when you click on this, it goes to their client database, meaning that now you have the people's name, you have their email address, their phone number, and when they've been a member, and that their profile is on a buyer and seller. So they're just a buyer, so I'm going to switch this to just buyer. Okay? And the reason why you want to define these people is because when we're sending out our emails and you want to send out your buyer leads, your seller leads, both your buyers or your prospects, you don't necessarily want to send everybody the same email. You want to specifically send that out. And so that's why we built it that way. So you've got a cell phone and you've got a main number. So then you can put in their another phone number. And so you hit the save button, and now we've got another phone number in there. The same way with an address, city, zip codes. Again, this is kind of your beginning of our CRM program. Then you can add and upload a photo. All right, so you just go into a dining room photo, and you open that, and so now you've got their photo in there. And when you update, it's there. If you want to remove it, you can remove it now. Okay? So now I've got, you can do this from YouTube or Facebook, anything that you can grab a picture from them. You put that in there because it'll certainly be a lot easier to recognize your clients in the client database. Moving down, what you can do now in their client database is you can put all their social networking into here. And then you can decide your relationship. So the source of the relationship is great because they're under contract. Anytime they should be great or better on that. And they're a referral from another. So I can just click on that, and now that action item is stored there. And I also can make comments. And great. So I could just put that in there. Now I've got a comment in there so that your assistant or whatever, they can also see comments that are in there. And then they can have default their searches. We've gone over that. Their favorite list, their search list, and then their buying transaction. So you can see how their buying transaction is already here. And if I needed to start a second one, I can start another transaction if they bought more than one property. You want to name those different names so that you don't have conflicting transactions. So you can say Rude 123 Main Street or whatever you guys want to put in there as a transaction name. Then you can change it to that it was a condominium, land, income, farm, and we also have the rental database, and we're building it as a rental so that you'll be able to keep your rental information here as well as your transactions. Then you can put in an MLS number here, and you can decide where that MLS is coming from. We have multiple MLSs, so you can do that. And then the other opportunity is to search by address. This is our value check back office. So if you put in the address and you put all that information in, you should be able to get that property. If you have trouble, then you might be able to put the parcel ID number in there. So there's 3 ways to check. You put an MLS number, and it's a 3 or 5-year-old MLS number. If it's in the system, it'll show up. So you don't have to, you can find it by the MLS number. If they pay, hey, look, this is what we got when we bought it. Excuse me. You can put that in there, and then it'll give the historical information on there. So this is your client database, okay? Moving back to my transactions, and I'm going back to the Rude file. So again, Just by clicking on that will take you to your client database. Then we have the participants. I told you that you would be automatically added as there, so you don't have to do that. One of the things you should know is that when you put an agent name, it defaults to RE/MAX Masters because it always wants you to do business with RE/MAX Masters. But if you're doing with an outside broker, and it happens occasionally, then you can change that. You just remember that it will default to RE/MAX Masters, and you have to put in RE/MAX Properties in there as an agent. So on Kimberly Lockhart, we've added her specific information. And you see that you can put her email, her phone number, her company name, and as we build the database, this will be auto-populated. So once you put somebody's name in there, it's going to remember that person's name, which is nice, so you won't have to keep retyping it.
Kimberly is what on this transaction?
She's the listing agent.
So you just put RE/MAX Properties instead of her company?
Yeah, I put her RE/MAX, and then you can also decide the type of person that's in there. So you can go that you can put in office users. If you have an office user that wants to, to be part of your transaction, then and a lot of times it's personal assistant. So you want to add your personal assistant there so that they'll have access to all these documents. Then an agent, and the difference between an agent and an invited agent is the agent will be in RE Colorado or our other databases, but if they're not, let's say that they're in the commercial business and they still have a license, they can sell a home, well, we're going to still allow them to make our clients some money. So we want to just put invited agent in there, and then you'll be able to decide, use the distinguish from them. Then you have your partners, your lender, your lawyer, your insurance company, anybody else that you want to give access to that. That's where you click on that. So now you have the access rights. We have already given access rights by default. That's why you're going to see that once you pick an agent's information in there, they're going to be automatically checked. But if you wanted to give them more or less, you would just click on the button and say, I don't want her to upload files, and so now I save the changes, and now she can't upload files, okay? But certainly we definitely want people to upload those files. So when you're looking at here, then it gives you what ability that they have here, and there's a little chart at the bottom, and so streaming across there, you know what kind of things that they can do. So the next button is your email button. This is what comes in when you send an email with this email address up here. It comes in from right there. So if you wanted to send an email, make sure that that's in your copy, or you can send it directly to, it doesn't have to be a CC. It can be directly to that email address, and that's where they show up here.
Is there a way with the existing ones we have, so we have 50 emails in that transaction, pull those over and drop them in here or upload them as opposed to doing the CC on that?
Yes, I mean, you already have the documents in your Dropbox, for example.
Documents, but you want to drop all the emails from that transaction.
Yeah, you can do that by uploading it here, though, because this is where you'd probably want to do it. Those are already on your computer, so you just want to upload your documents from there.
I'm talking about individual emails.
So individual emails, I think you'll get in the habit of sending them on a CC or just sending them to that. So if you have emails, you're trying to clean up your email address and say, yeah, that needs to go to that transaction, you can go ahead and just send them to it. It's going to be a little bit cumbersome if you have to try and remember that email for 4 or 5 transactions. That's why you always want to go ahead and put that in your contact database so that you know that that email address goes with that file. We're trying to simplify that, and we'd like to be able to have that email address known as the transaction address, and we're working on some ways to streamline that, but that's what we have right now. So any questions on uploading emails to your transaction box? One of the things that you can do here is you can change the You look at the document right there. You can see the document that is uploaded. Whoops, where did I go? So remember, anything that's highlighted, you'll be able to hyperlink, okay? It's an important understanding in our system because everything that's hyperlinked here, you can change your square footage by your categories. Here's all the transaction documents that we've already aligned for you, so that once you select a square footage category, we know that that document then is where it needs to go. So you see that you have the document. By seeing the document is right there on that one. This one will be able to lock down documents so that if you don't want to give access to the people that are in your participants, you can lock down that document right there. And then you can see the history of that document. If the file changed, if you had a date, that changed, it'll tell you that document. And then you'll decide if it's mandatory or not. And then this will not be approved by you guys. This is approved at a different level. This will be approved at your staff level or at your personal assistant level, okay? So once that approval is done, then it goes down to your mandatory documents that are required from the office, and you can see the ones that are okay. Once you have all of these done and okayed, earnest money document, for example, is still missing, okay? So as soon as that gets okayed, then you got your documents complete, and then you'll be able to then go to your commission. And so this right here, I should be getting the final version of the commission. It's going to be very robust, so it'll figure out your commissions, what the rate is, and then you decide who gets the splits between the broker fees, any transaction, any referrals that are paid out. You add that, and then that will be approved by the office. And then once that is approved, then the closing checklist will be done by the closer. So the done by the closer, remember, the closer up here is the title company. So Ellie Moore is the title company with Unified Title. She has access to upload the documents, and so at the closing, you just tell her, she'll know, she'll have this, and these are the documents that she'll be sending to that transaction. As soon as those transactions are done, she'll hand you your check at closing. We're trying to get away from having to bring the checks back to the office and then, that kind of thing. We want you to be paid immediately from there, and so this system allows us to go through that and work that. Yes?
So I noticed, because I tried to send an email to the file, that it automatically did it from, it was in like that email file, and then it also put it into the transaction file.
Okay.
So if you were doing that to a bunch of stuff, like wanting to keep a bunch of emails, does it automatically do it, or is it just because of what it, somehow it knows that it was an MLS entry, or, because I could see it becoming really cumbersome to have like a bunch of emails and stuff in the transaction checklist, and it might make it hard to look through, what needs to be approved and what doesn't.
Yeah, the only documents, these two documents are your storage suppositories right there, those two, okay? But the ones that are required by the office are only going to be these. So once they're done, and they have to be done by both, if you do it, we have to give you the ability to not have to only download or not just email. So those two are your storage, and then it's sent down so that now all the rest of this stuff that's up here is stuff that you might keep, but only the documents that are required will be in these two files.
But will it do that, will it transfer, like I said, it made it, because I could see that it was in the email
Uh-huh.
and it automatically transferred it. It was already, there was another copy of it in the transaction.
Okay, I'll find out about why that does. There shouldn't be any reason, because these two work in conjunction with your lower file, so it's not like it goes from email then to download. Those should stay in their respective categories. But then the categories, once you approve it for Paul, it will then go down here and say all okay. So you know now you've got all the documents you need that the office needs for closing. You fill out your commission, and then the closing checklist is done by the closer, just as if you were requiring a lender documents to be done prior to funding the loan. Prior to getting the commission, they have to have these done. Okay?
Right now, the whole commissions, that's not on ours.
No, I mean, we're going to be starting to test this. It should be on Carla start to test this this week.
And when you're downloading, to me, when I'm downloading the documents, it seems to be easier to go into the transaction file than the email. That's just for me.
Yeah.
The success of
Yeah,
that.
yeah. We built the system on the email based originally, because that was really the only way that we had that. So they wanted to take off the email ability and just download the documents. But you know, there's a lot of times that you have a document that you want to store in this transaction, and I want you to be able to get it there, and that's the reason for it.
And the person in our front office is taking care of all this stuff for us, letting them know that we're doing all we do on it. They're gonna be the ones going through checking this off.
Yes, yes. Yep. So this is right now we're kind of in the testing, still in the testing mode. So you guys get used to downloading these documents so you can see the documents, but any one that is in your, going back here, and if I go to, let's see, my team, my office, it should be office mom. Marketplace. Okay, so this right here, this shows you who has access to your documents. So you can see that the office users are here, okay, and the office agents are here, okay, and this can be assistants. So like Holly Vogel, she's a trainer in Atlanta, but she's learning home and do, and she might be training for us. So we're teaching her how to do that. And then Hank is a buyer's assistant that's working the Broomfield area for me. So anybody that just is working in your, that you want access to this, we can put them in the holding company. They don't have to be in the office, but they can still be an assistant to one of the agents. Does that answer your question, Steve? How that works? You guys don't have access to this. You'd have to go to Carla to change that. Okay?
Right, so for example, Sandy's already on my team, so I don't have to add her into the transaction because she has access.
She has access to your transactions. That's right. And so you'll see even the staff will have access. Now, Andy has access to it, and I have access automatically. There's 7 different layers of authorization. So I can go into any file and look at that. So the nice thing about this in the future is when you get that call, that dreaded call from Dora or, you know, an attorney or something like that, we're going to be able to review those documents because we're already going to have them. You know, the first thing that Peggy and I do now is get your file together, get everything you can for me, and then we'll be able to talk. Well, I'll already have that in place. Okay, so any questions about transactions itself? Start playing with it, put it in there, and we'll kind of get through this. The tasks are simply tasks that will communicate back and forth. It's building it like a chat room. We kind of showed you on slides last week how that was, but tasks will show up right there. Contracts are all the contracts are right here, and we haven't turned that on yet. and pick sign, we haven't turned that on yet. So we're very, very close for this. So really get used to it, because that's going to be the wave of the future. So what I want to start instead of spend a few minutes is on the search functions. We have found that the search functions around the state, no one has implemented all the neighborhoods into the state. There's over 5,000 neighborhoods, excuse me, in Colorado. And so we're starting to implement how to search much easier. So I'm just going to kind of run through the first generation and show you what where we're going with this, because this is quite a bit more robust than it was last week, and hopefully next week it'll be more robust. So first of all, there's 4 million, what is that, 487 properties in our system right now, okay? And so the first thing is I searched everywhere, and I'm going to, the state will be defaulted, so when you're in Colorado, you're going to search Colorado, and then you're going to search the county. So now you can search, and let's say you want to hit the first letter of that, and say I want to search Douglas County. Then another one pops up as I want to search the city. So Littleton is only in there because, you know, in Highlands Ranch it still has some Littleton addresses, and they're still in Douglas County, so that's why it's there. It's not really in Douglas County. But let's say now we want to go to Parker. So we click on Parker. Now we want to go to zip codes. There's 2 zip codes in Parker. So let's say that we want both of those zip codes. So now we want to search the neighborhoods. Now it has the neighborhoods in Parker. There's 200 and some neighborhoods in Parker. So we're not completely done, but we're going through the MLS database and trying to pick out the right neighborhoods. So let's say that we want Bellcross Ranch. Okay, so now we've gone to Bellcross Ranch and we want to search. There's 15 properties, show you where Bellcross Ranch, all the properties are, and now you can search by all the properties in Bellcross. So the nice thing about this is, again, remember, anything that's in blue is hyperlinked, meaning that let's say that you want to go and say, you know what, they don't want just Bellcross, but they really want to be in Pine Lane Elementary. So now you click in Pine Lane Elementary, and it gives you all the active listings. So I have defaulted it to active. You could change it, but right now it's just default to active. So this gives you every home that's available in Parker that are going to Pine Lane Elementary. But now you say, you know what, I want to look at only properties in Elkhorn Ranch. So now I click on Elkhorn Ranch, and it tells me that there's 7 active in Elkhorn Ranch. Now, remember this. When you're searching, we can only search your character to character. So if I search, let me just show you here, Ponderosa High School. That's all Chaparral. So if I'm going to search Chaparral, it tells me there's 122 in Chaparral, and you can see that's all pretty much in Chaparral. But if I would go to, I'm going to go back to just 80134. You see how that hyperlink, I'm going to hyperlink that. So I know that there's 240 active homes right there in that zip code. And so now I want to find Ponderosa. You see how Ponderosa High School? This is where I'm trying to figure this part out, because there's an elementary up north in Greeley that's Ponderosa. So you got to click on this map to zero in on your Ponderosa properties, okay? So we're trying to figure out how to do that. It's just something that I'm working on. But the nice thing about this is it'll always tell you the chain. It says residential active and school Ponderosa. So village, let's see, let's go to Russellville. So this will give me all the properties in Russellville. So all 3 properties here. And so all 3 are active. and you click on that, and then it will take you to you can go to this property here on Caribou. And one of the things that's important, you guys, is that when you're logged in, you can hit value check or RPR, and you're going to get a property search based on that property in RPR. I'm going to probably have to log in, so bear with me. So I'm logging into RPR, and you see how Caribou now is specific. So you now, when you're in a property, you can kind of find out a lot of information. You can find out, well, what the home RPR feels the value is. We'll have historical data. We'll have a way to filter your valuations. Gives you what's going on in the neighborhood, your listing detail. If you need to call the showing number, it's right there. And then it gives you all the interior information, HOA associations, schools. Now, the one thing about, I'm clicking on Ponderosa, see now you've got Ponderosa school details. So, you know, when you're sitting in a house and you're showing these people, you know, you don't need to be shown, okay, well, this is the bathroom, this is the commode, this is the toilet paper holder. What I would be doing is I would be making sure that I would be making sure that I can answer all the questions. So I click on here and I would be able to get information that they may be interested in asking, because then you're going to be able to overcome any objection. So when you're going back to your home value, you can go to value check, and I've shown this before, but I want to show it to you again. Shows you an aerial view of where the property is, tells you the owner and property information, the characteristics of the property, so you can verify square footage right there, the assessed value, previous sales information, transaction history. Then you can go to neighborhood sales, and you see how now this filing is hyperlinked. There's blue. We're trying to make sure all that information is hyperlinked. So now you can even call the schools. You can find out how far the school is from your property. Then you can go to demographics, which is the census tract, and school data, and it'll give you all the school information. And the way we do the comparables is you've got the filing number 3, everything in filing 3, 7. You can kind of look through all of that and see how close or how far that is from the property. So one of the things that you can also do is, let's say that now you want that list sent. It will auto-populate your property search, and you'll be able to then just send it to whoever you want and send that list. You can post it to Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus by just a click of a button up here in the top. You also can, when you click on a specific property, I'm going to go to Domingo. I hope I switched it fast enough. So Domingo, you see that you have more choices when you're on this specific property. You can then star this to a favorite. And one of the things that you have to know is you create all these favorite lists here. And when you're talking about a specific client, you always want to go to the Graysons and look at, you know, if they have a list, you want to have that list there, because now I'm turned on the Grayson list. There's not any properties there. But now when I go to my search, I want to make sure that the Grayson list is there. Whoops, right here. And so when I'm clicking on that search, and let's say that I'm going to search again I just want to search property type, residential, and I want to search this. I want to just get down to Parker.
So have the client open before you.
Yeah, you gotta have that always open, because otherwise it'll default to the one that's not in there. So I'm gonna search, I think I searched Castle Rock, see Douglas County and Castle Rock, and then if I wanted to put their price in there, I can do that. You always have to put a minimum price in there. So they're looking from 400 to 450, so I'll go to 475. And there's 1,291 because I didn't change it to status, okay? Active status should be the default, but it's not right now, so we'll make it the default. So there's 55 homes in their price range. And again, the nice thing about it is any one of these, if you want to just look at the meadows and see how many homes are in the meadows, you can just click on the meadows, and now you can zero in, there's 63 homes. It does not hold your price when you're clicking on that. It goes to the default, but it does default to active, okay? You also have the top.
Colorado deal when we set up our searches to go out on back. This is the way we can do it here. Save search where everything comes up before we.
Yes, yes. So, so let's say that I've got, this is in my stream. So all I want to do is look at active homes, residential in the meadows, okay? It creates a search every time that I search something. So I go to my search activity, and you go to your search list, and here's a new search. I haven't set anything up. And so now what I can do is I can start, when I start from there, you then, and see I still have Grayson in there, okay? So now I can add, so now I add Grayson. And let's say that they were looking at Castlewood, okay? So this gives you only ones in Castlewood. I can share that list with them by clicking on this. If I want to do it one-time email, then this is the way I would send it, okay? But if I want a reoccurring set, then I would do this, okay? And so as soon as I do that, and I go back to my saved search list, so I've got a shared list, and see now I have Christy Grayson here. I can see what she's looking for. She's looking for Douglas County, Parker, 400 to 450. I've already saved her search, and she's clicked on that 5 times. Okay, and I can, that's her email address. If I want to then add her husband to that same list, that's what I hit the share button. I put her husband's name in there, his email address, and how frequently I want to send him, because there may be one that's more interested in a quicker response than somebody else that wants to casually look and doesn't want to get as many emails. So that's how you would decide on that. And once you click on that, then that person's email, they're going to show up down here. So as both lists, and you'll see how many people are clicking on that.
Let's say any status changes, anything goes on, it'll send another email to one.
Yeah, when you're only showing active, it's only going to send them an active list. If it goes, and they have that list, and it goes under contract, it'll show under contract. Okay, it's not static. It's actually, but you can see how the Grayson list here is there. So now let's say that I want to click on a couple, and I want to refresh that, Now I can send her a list that even though she's gotten it, she's got 3 in her list now. Okay? And I can send her, instead of 28, I can send her 3 of the best ones. And that's saved there. So does everybody get the kind of the cascading for right now when you're searching? Search everywhere. Go down to the state. It will default Colorado, but it doesn't right yet. Next week, I bet it does. Pick your county. Any county in Colorado, you can do that. So let's say Montrose. And then we can see how it defaults to the different cities that are in Montrose County. So let's say that we want Nucla, for example. And then the zip codes, there's only one zip code in Nucla. It's not a very big town, so you don't even have to click on that. And let's just see how many homes that are in Nucla.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
Is it going to be able to eventually select what zip code and what?
You still, yes, you can do it now. It's just changed this morning. So you can change, you can add your zip codes, your neighborhoods. Well, I don't know about the county yet. Let's just. Yeah, then you would just go and absolutely search by zip code. Because we're trying to do MLS number here, keywords. We're trying to change the address search. You have an address search that you can do. So we're really working on this part to make it as robust as you possibly can, because this is where you want to send to your clients, and the more specific your clients can get, the better off you're going to be by sending them that data. I don't really, when I'm sending my clients, I don't send them a lot of specifics, especially in today's market when there's only 28 homes that fit their price range from $400 to $450. Let them go through 28 homes and tell you one, not you. Because they like doing it, first of all. So is there any questions? Yes, George.
Jim, if you say skip city and county and then directly like neighborhood, would it still pull those up?
No, because see what we're doing is we're building it city neighborhood specific. So it wouldn't give you all 5,000. We would have to create a 5,000 list. So what we're trying to do is narrow it down for you. So in Douglas County, you're only getting, the counties in Parker and that kind of thing. So it's called dynamic search, and we're just building it. And what I would like to understand is the feedback of why you guys might need something that I'm not thinking of. This is very painstaking. We have to go through and we look at what RE Colorado has for each neighborhood. We map it to our zip code first, city zip code, and then we have to decide on how many are real accurate, because what's happened is RE Colorado allows you to input what you want in your, so sometimes I'll have Meadows at Castlewood in caps, sometimes I'll have the Meadows or something else that's not in caps, and remember, a computer can only do character to character, so if you put bad information in, it gives you bad information. Very, very painstaking, but I feel that by the next couple months, we will really have the most comprehensive database for neighborhoods in the state. But that's why you guys need to use it to give me some feedback so I can short circuit that process.
The part of the question was, we have MLSs that are not participating with RE Colorado.
Yes.
Are we getting their feeds here?
Yes. So PPAR, you can search. We just spent almost 3 weeks on PPAR. We've sent them that we are past the test. We've done what they've said. And so I'm just going to remove this filter real quick, okay? And anytime I remove the filter, it goes back to the 0, okay? And so then let's just go to your state. And again, I've told you this 3 times. I don't think you need to. More than 3 times, I know you guys figure this out. So we're at El Paso County. So let's say we just want to look at El Paso. Okay, there's 47,000. And so I'm going to change the status just to active. And then there's 4,110 active properties. Now, if I wanted to narrow it down, and let's say that I'm just going to take residential, let's see how many residential properties there are. Do you see how fast you're going to be able to explain to your clients when they're asking you questions? There's 3,187 active in that. There's about 250 that are RE Colorado. So that's inclusive of that number, because you're going to have doubles in there, but you'll be able to see RE Colorado data, then you'll also be able to see Pikes Peak data. So when you click on a property here, you guys, it will tell you down here, listing source, Pikes Peak, courtesy of Pikes Peak. So you know that we've got the Pikes Peak database. Again, what I really like about this is it gives you the neighborhoods. We're working on, this one is an RE Colorado, and you can see that it has the schools in there. This one is a PPAR. They don't give us that database, but we do have the Lenta Park, and there's 2 properties there. You see how this right here is in the middle of the airport? Obviously, that home is not there. They do not give us longitude and latitude, and we have to figure that part out. Very complicated way, but we're figuring that out. So this property really should be over here, and I've been working with PPAR to make sure that these 2 properties end up being over here rather than the middle. And I did this the other day. I was taking people out in Colorado Springs, and I was showing them in the middle. I tried to take them right to the airport here because it was in that longitude and latitude. So, you know, they ended up taking me through their system. So you got to be careful on that, because when you want to search to go to that neighborhood, you want to make sure that that's right. Again, now Grayson is still up here at the bottom. Clicked on that now and refreshed. That's another property that would be on the Grayson list. So that's how you can search everywhere, even though, you know, you are searching for other clients. You might, oh wow, this might be worked for that particular client. So you want to keep this list as up to date as active, and not keep all of these that I have in here. You want to keep your active clients in there so that you can move around and negotiate your clients pretty quickly. So that's what we're doing today. I've got to get over to RE Colorado. Is there anything, Carla, that you want to add to the YouTube, show them from that standpoint? Okay, all right. Just know we have our own YouTube channel. You can have your YouTube channel. You'll be able to send your testimonials to YouTube as well as to you know, the app, because it'll go right to your app there. So thank you very much.